Hey, welcome to Backyard Bows. I'm Brandon, and it's 2024. I can't believe it. This year has flown by. The first year, I think I did 32 or like 33 bows, and it was the first year that we did it, and I was kind of just getting going. This past year, we just put in 40 bows, which was my initial goal. I can't believe it. We've done so much. We added a whole bunch of accessories in there. I got to hunt a lot this year. I had a great season. I still got a couple tags, so I'm not finished just yet. But 2024 is here, and man, I feel like 23 was the warm-up, even though it was the second year. So much good stuff has come. If you're following along, keep following along, because I think it's just gonna get better and better. We did the Core SR. Bowtech came out with a whole bunch of different bows this year. They got the EVA Gen 3, they got the Carbon 1X, which is a little bit longer axle to axle carbon. Then they have the Justice, the Commander, which are both, I think, like limited edition bows, which I'm pretty sure I got the Justice. So that's another Bowtech that I'm planning on doing. And then they have the rest of their bows from last year, which you can go ahead and get. If you've watched my videos, you know I love this SS series. So if I could pick like 3 bows from the same series, it would be Bowtech hands down. Solution SS, SS34 from last year, and then here we got the Core SS. But man, there's something about these bows that has always blown my mind. The transition into the valley, into the draw, and the draw cycle, to me is just something that there's nobody that can compare to these bows. So if you're somebody that just prefers just comfortability, something that's effortless, or if you need to due to injuries, man, you can't beat these. I mean, these are just, I have pulled them back in the field in the most awkward of positions and never thought twice about it. I mean, it just was such a breeze to get set up. And man, and sometimes you do find yourself in some crazy positions hunting turkey or whatever. It's nice to have that. So the Core SR, on the comfort side, if you watched that video, I liked it. The performance side, for the first time, I just really did not like the feel of a bow, even to where I think I changed it back halfway through the review. So I wanted to get this in here because, again, I kind of had a little bad taste in my mouth about the speed bow from them this year. So I'm going to top it off, and I'm going to get that taste out of my mouth with one of my favorite series of bows out to date. So let's do the specs. The specs on these things are awesome for a more compact bow. You got 31.5 inches axle to axle, which is perfect for me. 6 1/4 inch brace height. You got 50, 60, 70 pound limb options. This thing is 337 on the IBO. The mods will rotate 1/2 inch increments from 26 out to 31, which I like too. So it gets that a little bit extra inch for those guys that are kind of right on the tail of the longer side. There's a lot of features into these new bows from them, the Core series, and I think they're all worth another mention. So we'll kind of go over all that, and then we'll touch on everything. And I think I have a little bit better perspective after doing the Core SR and a little bit more insight on some of this new technology. So starting with the riser, okay, you have these, man, I love these risers. They're really nice and sleek. They have some really nice aluminum risers. They have impressed me more and more and more. I think these ones are probably some of the more solid ones that they've put out lately. On the risers, you have these orbit dampeners, and I've talked about this a lot. These are my favorite dampeners that you can have on a bow. I think they do their job very well. They're slightly weighted. You can maneuver them around the bow. They're really easy to take off, and there's multiple positions on the bow which you can place them to help you get a perfect feel. And honestly, if you mess around with it, you will find something that's more comfortable than others. I usually place this low one behind the riser, and then I have one up top, which I will place in various positions. But these dampeners are some of my favorite. You can buy more of them and add them, and kind of the more you add, honestly, the better of a feel that you're gonna get. These things do the trick. And then one thing that they added on new, which was kind of a new technology this year, was this grip lock technology. So after messing around with the Core SR for a while, here's what I kind of deciphered. And one, really simple to use. I love it. Okay, you can go high risk, low risk, anything in between. It's only one grip, so you don't have to buy anything additional, and you can change the angle to the best feel for yourself, which again, we talk about this all the time, but we're also different. You undo both screws on either side, and then in the front here, you can use a wrench to make the angle of that grip go in and out. Now, what I found out is as you angle it out, I think it is going to add additional vibration to your hand. That's just the feel I get. Tucked all the way in, securely up against the riser, really tightened down real good. I think that's where it fits the best. And that is just your typical Bowtech grip that they've always had. So that's kind of what I go with. The more you angle it out, I think the more it adds a little shock into your hand. That's just kind of my assessment of it. I love the feature. I love the idea of it, but I think that's where you're kind of sacrificing a little. Going up to the limb pockets, they have right behind Hoyt, I think these are my favorite limb pockets. I love that they sit really far back on these limbs. I mean, these things are probably some of the most solid limb pockets you can get, and I don't know why occasionally this happens, but it drives me crazy when the limbs don't meet the front of the limb pocket, and it's like that on all 4 of these, and it was like it on the other Core SS in there. So again, they know what they're doing when they're assembling these, but that visually to me always disturbs me when those limbs aren't securely pressing up against the front of the limb pocket. But the limb pocket itself is as solid as you can get. Then you have the limbs going back to the deadlock cam and the deadlock system. So we've talked about this a whole bunch. You have multiple different tuning systems now that are built into bows. I think guys are preferring, realizing how convenient and precise these are, and I think they're gaining traction. I love this one and the one from Elite, but I love this. It's such a simple system to use to do some of that fine tuning that you need to do, let's say in like broadhead tuning. It just makes it such a simple process. I can do it all out there on the range without having to step back inside. I love it. And that brings me to another new technology, which is that time lock system. When I first got this thing out of the box, you can tell by the little dots, there's little markings on the cam that help you get your cams timed just right. And it was a little off right out of the box. It was one of the first things I noticed. And so again, you undo the lock on the outside, insert an Allen wrench in the back, and you can move that piece forwards and backwards, which is going to assimilate twisting those cables and being able to get those 2 cams perfectly timed. It's just simple. It's easy, it's very accurate, and it's precise. Okay, so it goes in little minute quarter inch turns, half-inch turns, and you can get that perfect. Another thing about these bows I'm just going to mention is like the time lock screw on top and bottom wasn't tightened down when I got it out of the box. So again, I know they're anticipating somebody working on these, but no matter when you get these bows, if there's a lot to them like this with all these different moving pieces, I would just double check, make sure everything's really tightened down, okay? More often than not, I find that something is loose, and I think it's always worth going back through and just making sure everything's tight after you get everything tuned in. Also on these cam systems, the hardware is my favorite. They have 3 nuts with 3 washers. I mean, you can tighten these things down as tight as you want. They are never coming loose, okay? They don't strip, they don't come loose. They're my favorite hardware probably on any bow. And then as you adjust your draw length, you have your limb stop, which is that blue knob on top. Again, it's all marked out with numbers. It's easy to use, easy to work on. Absolutely love this entire cam system. These things could be the smoothest drawing bows of all times, especially the Solution SS. I think that was, the SS34 was, and then we'll see on this one. But on those cam systems as well, which is something else we talk about, which is another feature I love, is that flip disc mod. So you can take your module system, you can take it off, flip it to the other side, and it's going to kind of give you a different engine for that bow, usually increasing your speed by maybe 6 feet per second. I would say, as I've worked on these more and more, as I've gotten feedback, been more hands-on during backyard bows, what I have noticed is most people are going to shoot these on a comfort setting. All the bows that have a flip disc mod on, most people are going to shoot them on that comfort setting. I think that they really play into effect. If you're like a 27.5-inch draw, you're sacrificing on speed in every which way, and you are going to try and get every single feet per second you can out of a bow. That's where I think they play the biggest role. You can flip them over, gain those little bit of extra feet per second that you're needing because you're wanting everything that you can get. Again, somebody like me, 30-inch draw, I'm never sacrificing on speed too much. I'm always in a good speed. But if you're on the shorter side, I think that's where those play into effect, and that's where you can sacrifice a little bit in that draw to gain those feet per second. But we will do both just like we always do. Okay, so I will shoot this on the comfort side, I'll shoot on the performance side, we'll do the speed test on both. I'm so excited to shoot this. And I think I worked myself up a little bit too much with that Core SR with excitement to be kind of let down a little bit on that performance side. I just was expecting something different. I think when we do that, we kind of get let down. Something else from Bowtech. Quit making these. Throw all these away, okay? And the next time you guys send a bow, send something different. Send a hat you can wear. Who keeps sending hats to people that they can't wear, that they don't want to wear, okay? It drives me crazy. I wouldn't take that hat for free at a garage sale. Come up with something better. This bow costs $1,400. Send me a good hat. Something else that I forgot to mention, but I will mention, they added the center mass tech, which is the ability to mount those sights directly into the riser, okay? I will show you a clip from the Core SR that we did. I actually got to bring that black and gold home with me and kind of do a test with that. It is so sleek when it's all in there and set up. I love their sights. I love that Bowtech kind of incorporated that in there. It's really good looking when it's all set up. So let's go ahead. We have the comfort side, 70 pounds. Again, you can't, I always wonder on the cameras if you guys can see the transition. You know, I think unless it's really jerky, I feel like it's hard, but this about halfway, just like all of them, it just lets off. So you're just right there, comes right back. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're in an uncomfortable position, you're squatched down, you're sitting on the ground, you're on your knees, whatever it may be, I'm telling you, you will appreciate this draw cycle. And really what I tend to find is that especially with the SS series, it's still an ease into the back wall, but when you flip it to the performance side, which we'll do in a second, it just has like a hump in the beginning, just a little bit stiffer. But this right here is just a breeze. I mean, this is the best draw I've felt all year. The bow bounce is nice. Little bit of vibration in the hand, but again, I did the Core SR with it angled out just to kind of mix up the grip a little bit. This one tucked it all the way back in, tightened it down real good, kind of becomes a part of that riser again. Don't feel nearly as much vibration in my hand, but this also isn't getting the speeds of the Core SR, so a little bit of give and take there. I love the cable guards on these. They have a dampener on them as well. A lot of people have said that flex to this cable guard, they can get some rub on those cables. I've never had that happen. I have shot Bowtechs for so long, and I've used them in the field. I've used every one in the field for the past couple years. I got the really nice buck opening day with the SS34, got a really nice buck too, and a doe with the Solution SS. And then I got a worker that picked up that Solution SS, got another buck. Never had any rubs in the cables. I've never had any of that. So again, some of that feedback, I'm not sure what it is. I can't speak on it because it just I haven't had that experience. But I love these cable guards. They kind of give you just enough clearance, so they'll move in as you draw back, and then as the arrow passes, they will kind of move back out. But they really do line everything up really nicely when you're in full draw. So I like that too. Let's go outside. I'm gonna shoot this. This is like one of those bows I can shoot. I'm gonna shoot 250 times today, easy, breezy. I mean, it's such a pleasant shot. And once you get them dialed in, you can just pull it back. The shot cycle's so nice. This one balances really nice. I like the 31.5-inch axle to axle. This is a great bow. So what I just did was I flipped the disc over. So we'll do the performance side out here. Kind of cut down on time a little bit. Sometimes these Bowtech reviews can get lengthy. So you always anticipate a little bit of a change. The Core SR, it was more of a change than I had anticipated. And to a point where I thought it was negative. And there's no way it would ever be worth the amount of feet per second you were gaining for what you were sacrificing. This could be a little different, so we'll see. So we got a bore at 25, we'll start there. Not nearly as bad. This is way more of the SS series style of that flip disc, where it has a little bit of a hump towards the end. So the beginning stays the exact same, a little bit of hump to get over, but it really transitions nicely, which is nice. Because sometimes when that hump's added, that's when you get that jerk at the end. Let's go buck quartering away from me. We'll go buck quartering to me. The balance is really nice. The arrows come off these things so, I mean, just so crisp. The shot cycle's super clean. Out of all the Bowtechs, just always, these seem to be my favorite. Let's go to the gazebo. I'm gonna keep it on the performance side for the rest of this freestyle. It's not bad. I would shoot it if I was to purchase this and hunt with it. I'd shoot it on the comfort side always to me, but unless it got 20 feet per second more, to me, there's just no reason to sacrifice anything. Because and I say this all the time, like, go shoot one if you haven't. If you haven't shot a Bowtech, shoot one. Every time a guy comes in, he's like, oh, I've shot Hoyt for years. I go put a Bowtech in his hand. Just to see his reaction in his face. I mean, it's a completely effortless it'll blow you away what they've accomplished with these SS series. So let's go turkey, 5-yard increments. We'll go up to an elk at 50, and we'll just kind of climb this 3D ladder. We'll go coyote at 25. And we'll go feeding buck at 30. And we'll go gray wolf at 35. Now we'll go over to that black bear at 40. We'll finish there and then do our full draw stall. So I think with the, if I was to shoot on the comfort side, I think it'd just get easier. To me, the hole gets easier, the cycle gets easier, you get less fatigued, less quickly. My assessment of these is like the comfort side, you should go with them right from the beginning. These bows, I love them. If we were gonna split hairs, everything flipped over would just be a little easier. Full draw stall, same thing too. I bet you it'd be a good amount easier on the comfort side. 1 minute hold. I like to do it 40 yards. If you really want to test the stability of the bow you have currently, do a full draw stall. Pick a distance and a time that makes you feel uncomfortable and compare it to other bows, if you can. The bow, even on the performance side, I didn't mind at all. That was better than most bows, just regular. Most of the bows that we've tested, even on the performance side, that was really nice. Nice solid back wall. I love the way it holds. The pins move naturally a little bit as 60 seconds comes about, but not bad at all. We got our bonus 45. All right, we all got our favorite targets. Mine's that elk. One day I want to get that big elk. It's like 1,500 bucks, which I cannot spend on a target, but maybe someday. I love shooting at real life size 3D targets. That's my favorite. Elk 50. Get one a little higher. The more I shoot this, the more I sense a little bit of instability. At full draw, it's like, I didn't notice it a ton in the full draw, but man, it's there. It's wearing on me a little bit on the performance side. And as you remember, the Core SR, I had to go in and switch that one over. I couldn't stand it, but this is fine. I'd be able to shoot more. I'm gonna switch it back to the comfort side to do the rest of the shooting today, because I think it's just a little bit more, we'll switch it back. Comfort side, I think it'll be a little bit more breezy, a little bit more pleasurable to shoot. So I'll do that for the rest of the day, but let's go see what the speeds get on both sides. All right, so now I'm gonna do the performance side first, because that's what I had it on outside, so I don't have to change this as much. 337 IBO. Performance side should be in those 280s where we like to see. I have a feeling the comfort side will be right under, but not bad. So 70 pounds, 30-inch draw, 500 grain arrow. This will be for the grading part of the test. 279. So right there at 280. I would love it to get the 8 out of 10, so we're gonna shoot a couple and see if it can't climb a little bit. I was expecting maybe 283, but 280 is good. This is again on the performance side. 283. I'm gonna shoot one more. I'm gonna solidify its spot in the 280s so I can give it that 8 out of 10, and then we'll switch it over. So on these bows, just because, it does get it on one side, so we'll use this performance side always for the grading, because that's what it gets is the fastest. 280, okay. So we got an 8 out of 10. I love that. I'm gonna shoot these other grain arrows to give you a little variance. So first we'll do the lighter one. We'll go 440. Man, and again, we talk about this, but you see guys shooting like arrows all over the place. Okay, all over the place. There was a guy the other day just put out like a video, I saw a little bit of it, saying he bumped his grainage down for elk, bumped it up for deer. So everybody has a little bit different, you know, I feel like the longer you're an archer, a bow hunter, the longer you have experience, you find something that works for you, really. And that's kind of what the whole thing is, you know, you find what works for you. I like a 500 grain arrow or right under. 280, 283, 287. I kind of hunted with a whole bunch of little different arrows this year that all kind of right around that same. So here we go, 440 grains. That's almost 300, love to see it. And then here we go, a brass inserted arrow of the first one we shot, which comes out, I think, to 560 grains, 264. So right on the money, par with everything. I think their 337 IBO is one of the most accurate ones we've gotten to date. Just really accurate and honest, I love that. Let me switch this mod over. We'll see what it gets on the comfort. All right, flip that disc back. And again, I mentioned it earlier, I love the hardware on these bows. If you're somebody who does plan on kind of flipping that around for different types of the year, shooting 3D, going into hunting, whatever it may be, man, you can be reassured. Those are just some of my favorite hardware. Those nuts and bolts, or nuts and washers, you can really tighten those things down. You just feel real good about putting them on. Let's go, we'll go back to that 500 grain arrow. We're on the comfort side, 70 inches, or 30 inches, 70 pounds. Oh gosh. Man, it's night and day after shooting that bow outside. Now that's a big difference. This is a more significant difference than we're usually seeing. We're usually seeing 6 to 8, that was 12. Now we'll shoot a couple, but that's a lot bigger difference. But man, did you see my face? You pull this thing back, after you shoot it on the performance, you pull it back on the comfort, you're like, wow, that's incredible. So that's a significant difference to me. Yeah, this is a 6 out of 10 rating if it didn't have that performance side. This is probably one of the bigger speed differences when flipping that mod. Sometimes it's barely anything. So there's 270. So I would say it's probably a solid 10 feet per second difference, which is huge. And that is enough to make you kind of think like, do I want that 10 feet per second? Because that draw cycle on the performance was not bad. So that kind of got me thinking. Let's go heavier arrow first. We're gonna be down to 250s, watch. This is a 550 grain arrow. 254. And then we're gonna bump it up. We'll go 440 grains. So if I hunted on the comfort side, needing that comfort for an injury, whatever it may be, bump this arrow grain down. We'll be back up in the 280s like we wanna be. 291, so that's nice. Again, that's enough of a difference to make you think and ponder and kind of question what's what. So if I got the Solution SS, I'd shoot a whole bunch on both sides and really try to figure out what's gonna suit me the best. Or if in the off season, you wanna shoot it a bunch. You're shooting it every day like I do. I mean, you're one of those people who just reps and reps and reps. It's kind of like your therapy. I find myself shooting my bow all the time. Maybe I'd switch it to the comfort, and then getting into the bow season, depending on where you're at with speed, maybe you bump it up to the performance. But I love that feature and having that option. Okay, so let's also talk a little bit about the sound and the decibel reading. Here's my thing. Let's say this decibel reader had a little bit off calibration. We're still using the same one for all the bows. So until we make a switch, we can again at least compare in-house. So most of the bows that we've gotten here, there has been a wide range, which was surprising to me because in the beginning I thought they would be all very, very similar. But the range has gone all the way from I think 84, 85 up to 94, 95. So if you're somebody who says, oh, well, your decibel reading's off, the calibration's off, it should be more in the 80s. Okay, that's fine. Subtract everything by 10. And then you still have a wide range of bows and decibel readings that you can compare to each other. So we're gonna stick with this for the moment. When we do the bag, we might go back, the new bag, we might go back, switch up some of the decibel readers, find again the best one that we think suits the situation that we have here. But for right now, this is what we got. Most of the Bowtechs lie right there in the 90s, right in the middle. So here we go. 89.5. 88.7. 90. So again, right where I almost guessed. The last two bows in here were in the 94s. The RX-8 and that Black Mamba. So both of those bows. And again, you can tell outside shooting them, even outside, what bows you're like, okay, this one's gonna be on the louder side of things. I'm gonna do this test and we'll make a little video out of it, but I wanna do this test on how much the decibel reading drops when the distance of the shot changes. So a deer at 30 yards, what is it hearing compared to a deer at 40 yards, 50 yards, that kind of thing. And I want to do this test because we had somebody recommend it a long time ago and I just haven't had the time to do it, but lately it's been on my mind. So maybe we'll do that. So look out for that. I think that'll be a good judge. We'll do a couple different bows at a couple different depths and we'll get some multiple different readings, and I think that'll be kind of fun to do as well. So, all right, so I finally got another SS in here. This is like Bowtech to me. When I think of Bowtech, I don't think of speed bows, I don't think of budget bows, I think of the super smooths. Technology and the super smoothness of these bows. I think they achieve something that not any other company does. I don't think you can get a bow with a draw like this that gets 273 feet per second with a draw that is even similar to this. I think it's honestly, I think it's incredible what they do. Every time I do a review on a Bowtech, I always mention go shoot one. Shoot one, put it on the comfort side, shoot one of these super smooths. I think you would just be shocked. I think most people are. So speed right off of the bat, I think on the performance side, which is what we'll use, it's 283. So 8 out of 10. Solution SS and the SS34 both came in at 275 on the performance side. So this one's a hair quicker, which I love because they really did a good job of keeping that super smoothness, bumping up the speeds a little bit, packing it with more technology. I mean, this is like, yeah, it's crazy. Every time I think, what's the company, we all think it, you know, like what's next? And then sure enough, I've been surprised a couple times this year already, and we're just beginning. I mean, I love Bowtech. I'm a Bowtech fan. Top 3 for sure. This was nice to do this review. I love the quality on these. I think they are splitting hairs right under maybe that Hoyt aluminum. They got a lot of moving parts. I'm gonna go ahead and say an 8 out of 10 for quality and durability. And that is splitting hairs just to create some separation. I think the quality and durability on these is great. Or you got the appeal. The appeal on these, Bowtech's never been my favorite for the appeal. I think some of their camos are faded. I don't know, they just don't have my favorite look all around. I don't think they have the strongest colors and camo options. I gave it a 9. I gotta bump it down some, and I don't like to beat up on the appeal because it shouldn't be factored in too much, but a little bit. And then you got the technology. I'm going 10 out of 10. If I could give it a 10.5, I would, because this bow right here is the most technological advanced bow on the market today. You can't beat it. It has all of the new time lock, grip lock, the deadlock, you know, ability to put the new sight from Black and Gold into that riser, the integrated rest, the multiple options for a regular sight. I mean, you have everything you would need. The orbit dampeners, which some people overlook. Those, I mean, being able to maneuver and place your dampeners where you want, which also add weight to your bow, I think is just incredible. What they can achieve with the draw cycle and the speed, I think is some of the best in the business, that give and take. And then the ability to just kind of work on your bow yourself. I think it's up there. I mean, just one of them. And you know, people would argue that the APA bow, it's a different type of technology, okay? The APA bow and the Core SS, completely different type of tech. Both of them are at the peak of tech, just different types. Then you got performance. I gave it an 8. As much as, I mean, this one, if I just split hairs, if I gave the SS34 and the Solution SS a 9, I mean, I think this would be an 8. I didn't think it held for me as well as some of the other ones. When you factor in the full shot experience, fit to finish from beginning to end, I think it makes up for it with the draw cycle. The hold is such a big deal to me. It didn't hold as well as I wanted to. I did the performance, most of the shooting on the performance side. So again, if you had to give it a 9 for the comfort side, 8 for performance, maybe an 8.5, but I'm just gonna give it the 8. So you get a 44 times it by 2, you get that 88, which is what the RX-8 got. This does get to make up for 1 bonus point. This gets an 89 out of 100. So this is up there right at the 90. We haven't had a ton of, since we've cracked down on the grading a little bit, we haven't had a ton of bows push over 90, but I think this is definitely one of my favorites from the year. This is just a fantastic bow. If you haven't shot a Bowtech, go shoot a Bowtech. I'm telling you, these ones that they have been producing for the last couple years are some of the smoothest, most effortless, fun bows to shoot. I'm telling you, today was fun. Anytime you get a bow like this in your hand, you got just free range to just shoot with it as much as you want. I mean, it's a good time. So, as always, I hope you found something in this review helpful to you in your bow buying process. There are so many options out there, so much going on. We are just trying to create some separation through all of the madness so that you can make a decision which best for you. Make sure you get out there, shoot a whole bunch of bows. Don't buy a bow off just one review. Test a whole bunch of them. One will stand out for more. We are all so different. Find one that fits you and go with it. Above all, no matter what you shoot, what your setup is, get your reps in. See you next time.